4, 3, 2, 1. Good luck.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another
Okay.
another game of the LPL. It's the League of Legends Pro League. My name is Rapid. With me is Sigilus, and we are bringing you guys the second of two semifinal matchups from the upper bracket of the LPL playoffs. It's going to be a game today between RoX.KIS and Aces High Esports. RoX.KIS, the renegade online extremists, taking on the team from Turkey, who actually, found a couple of really good wins, had a almost perfect score over the course of the regular season, dropping only one game that looks like they may not actually have played. So interesting to see that a team from Turkey in a CIS tournament has made it to face honestly one of the best teams in the CIS in RoX.KIS. All-star mid laner Alex, Ish, and friends have made it all the way here and are looking strong coming into the playoffs.
Yeah, they are looking very, very good, and we are straight into Champ Select, so let's talk about these picks and bans. We've got Azir, Cinder, and LeBlanc being banned out by Aces High, Jarvan, Janna, and Gnar on the flip side being banned out by RoX.KIS, and it doesn't surprise me to see a lot of these. Azir, Alex Each has been playing a lot of Azir, and he's done really good on it, so banning that out makes a lot of sense.
But two interesting things to talk about. The first pick, Tarek. Now, okay, so I thought it was locked in. It glitched out on my screen. It said it was locked in, but it's not. It's going to be a first pick Pantheon to get some good strength in the jungle. However, Pantheon's like number 3 or number 4 on the jungle tier list. You usually want Lee Sin or Jarvan ahead of him. The interesting thing about this is that, Alex Ish has been playing nothing but assassins, so you'd expect the LeBlanc ban and the Azir ban, but Alex is almost guaranteed just going to pick Zed here. And so they'll first pick a Zed, and then they don't need to pick Lee Sin here because they already know that Pantheon's been picked. So they'll probably go for either a support pick now that Jan has been banned, and that's started to limit the pool. Or, you can always pick up an early top lane pick if you really want to save that last counter pick for last.
Well, I like this Irelia, actually. Given the fact that Gnar's not in the pool, picking up an Irelia early is decent. Fareez is good on that champion. Graves as well is a really strong AD carry, although I'm kind of surprised that was prioritized over Corki. But like you were saying, they didn't necessarily need to pick their jungler, but I'm kind of surprised they didn't pick the support, especially.
Well, I mean, when you talk about supports, there's the ranged supports and there's the huge, heavy, hard, all-in engaged supports. And for Aces High, hovering over the Thresh, that's exactly what they're going for. And it's not really a big surprise for them. The Okalis, it's been a big pick for him all season long. So I would expect that. For Demonco, I see the Graves lock in, and I'm interested in it because there's no Corki, there's no Lucian, both having been hit by some nerfs recently. Graves does well against both of them, so I like to say that RoX.KIS expect either one of those picks, but they may not get him. Sivir now being hovered over there by Aces High, and honestly this matchup is going to come down to, can Holy Phoenix hard carry like he has almost every single other game that Aces High have played. And while sometimes Alex Ish has had a rough time, specifically on Fizz, some of his Fizz games have looked a little bit off point, but his Zed is still ridiculously strong, which is again another strong case for picking the Sivir, so you can have a chance at spell shielding that Deathmark.
It does look like Zed is being hovered over. I'm not too surprised by the Sivir pick, because it's good against the Graves in the lane. Holy Phoenix is an excellent AD carry player. I was kind of expecting Lucian more, but Sivir makes a lot of sense too, and having that movement speed to help you engage is really useful as well. So it's going to be a good pickup, and obviously they can predict that Alex, like you predicted, might be going for a Zed pickup here.
Yeah, the Zed makes a lot of sense. So what confuses me is not grabbing that Thresh there. We talked about the high priority of support picks now that Jan has been banned, and you want to get those taken care of very, very early on. Instead of grabbing the contested support pick, I'd have to say, Riosta locked in a Maokai. And what's interesting about the Maokai is that while he does good versus almost any lane. Because Irelia had already been picked by RoX.KIS, Aces High really didn't need to grab a top laner that early. They could have, you know, picked it later on and grabbed a more contested pick. The only reason that you'd see the Maokai picked up early is if you wanted, you know, more time to pick other lane matchups to have a chance to pick up counter picks. But because RoX.KIS are playing the red side, or purple side, whichever one you want to call it, they actually get the chance to last pick. And they will be saving that Alex Ish last pick counter pick for last, which is usually where you save last picks for.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what mid laner Aces actually want to lock in here, because they got to be aware of the pool of champions that Alex Ish has available to him. Obviously, they took 3 mid laners away. And, okay, this is interesting. They're going for the Lux here. So, Zed, I mean, I wouldn't be too worried about picking Zed into that matchup. It's a bit of a struggle at the beginning, but, you know, you can maybe make it work later on. Kassadin's being hovered over at the moment, though.
Yeah, Zed and Deluxe is I don't that should be just something you click on and lock it in. I wouldn't agree with the talent here that's being hovered. I haven't seen too much of Alex Ish's talent. I like you said, Zed is kind of the obvious choice, but you could go for Kassadin. The only problem is that like Kassadin might have kill potential on Lux, but when it comes to the late game, Lux is going to dish out all of her damage from a distance farther away than Kassadin's really ever going to reach. So the question is, do you go long range poke mage and lock in like a I want to say a Zerath, or do you try to get up close and personal and pick up kills with either Kassadin or his Zed? And you know, while Zed may have a little bit of issues, like you said early on, it's actually going to be Kassadin locked in for Alex, and yeah, it's not going to be a mid lane Irelia. That is going to be a mid lane Kassadin for Alex Ish, and it'll be going up most likely against that Lux, unless we see some crazy lane swaps. That should be the matchup. Usually you'd pick Kassadin into a Maokai for a good top lane, but that's going to go to Irelia, and Alex will be playing that Kassadin mid.
Yeah, I mean, the team comps here are fairly interesting. I'm curious to see how RoX.KIS is going to play this, because they've got a decent mid game, and they could really try and put some pressure down before Lux gets into her element. So I'd like to see them maybe go for that.
So what they're going to go for this game, at least from preliminary looking at the team compositions, is that Aces High are playing more of, I want to say, a kite back. The plan for team fights would be, you know, you throw on the On the Hunt from Sivir, and that sort of slingshots Thaldrin's Maokai into the back lines. It'll be interesting to see if that strategy works versus RoX.KIS, who have a lot of mobility of their own. We'll see that mobility put to use when we get into Game 1. The quarterfinal matchup from the upper bracket, the LPL playoffs. RoX.KIS versus Aces High is coming up next.
Try not to fall, try not to lose any hope that the dawn might bring. faith in me and everything I do. But now we'll be okay. We're alright, and we're not coming down. There'll be no holding on. And we say that we're all letting go. Feel me now, for all time.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The quarterfinal matchup from the upper bracket of the LPL playoffs. My name is Rapid. With me is, I almost said Theocles because the names are actually not all that different. With me is Osigalus, and we're going to be hopping into our first game of a best-of-3 series to determine which team will advance to face off against Thunderbot Sparta. The semifinals of the upper bracket coming up a little bit later on in the month. So Aces High coming out as the last and final Turkish team representing their region here versus the CIS's RoX.KIS. And RoX.KIS, since their inception, have been all the way towards the top of a lot of the CIS tournaments. Although specifically for this one, it's been awesome to watch them at work. It's just very, very strong individual lanes, making up for some of the weaknesses that they may have in team composition. So let's see how that works out this time around. As you can see, RoX.KIS already with a very aggressive and unscouted early invade.
Yeah, I mean, Aces went straight into the jungle of RoX.KIS, but they were actually spotted out, and in response, they all just filtered into Aces High's jungle. And they're actually sticking around right now. They might be able to flank around here and sort of mess with the Krug start that Holy Phoenix and Lithilian are trying to get here. Or they might just go for this red buff. It looks like that's what they're going for. And I actually really like that. You know, it's definitely going to put Theocles behind, and he needs to get ahead in the early games. You know, one of the big things that you want to do when you pick up a Pantheon.
Now, Lithelion went for the Tribrush ward, which is obviously better instead of trying to ward over the Krug wall in to scout the red buff. So yeah, no vision on the red buff means that Demonko is just gonna walk in and go for that. Now, he's opting for a level 2 gank here. He's just gonna walk up, and Ryasta honestly is in a really rough spot here. He gets slowed down by the red buff, consistent auto attacks, and oh my goodness, they had the kill if Demonko had flashed and repelled, but unfortunately did not want to go for the super crazy turret dive because he's not level 3 and didn't have repel skill just yet. But still, forcing the flash, the barrier, and just really giving Alex East the lead he needs in that lane.
Yeah, that was a really nice gank, even though they didn't end up getting the kill. It is going to put a lot of pressure down. You can see that Theocles wants to try and equalize this a little bit. He's kind of sitting around that mid lane right now, coming in behind Alex Ich as we're speaking. but I think he could just quite easily walk away, to be honest. Bot lane, one thing I wanted to point out real quick is Holy Phoenix accidentally unleashed the Krugs and took way more damage than he was meant to, and they came into the lane a little bit late and just immediately with the deficit there. So that was a big mistake from Aces High's bot lane.
Big mistake for them, but a couple of other mistakes that you're about to see here is just misprioritizing this damage. While you're going to see Theokiles and Thaldrin double jungle in through their red buff just to make sure they can get this invade off, that gives Freeze just total dominance up in the top lane. He's there by himself, and honestly, you can't really do this because this is exactly the way that we were talking about earlier before the game started. How are these team comps going to work out? And there's a lot of really cool things that the Aces High team comp does together as a team, but RoX.KIS are the opposite of that strategy. They are the strategy that just walks up and kills you, which is exactly what you're seeing. Early aggression. Demaco's right there. Teleport's coming down. They're going to be able to pick off Lithilian, the Flashin', the Auto, the Lantern for the disengage, but Raskin may be in a little bit of trouble.
Man.
It's a double TP now as Fariz joins the fight. Holy Phoenix in a little bit of trouble. He needs one more auto attack for a double kill. There's be a flash out for Thaldrin. No Cocoon to land, but a 2-for-0 exchange in RoX.KIS's favor.
Yeah, that was really, really bad for Aces High. They overcommitted to that greatly, and actually, I'm kind of surprised how far they moved up when they were trying to go for the initial fight onto just the, the 2v2. In the bot lane, they went very far up, which made it very easy for Raskin and Raxo to put a lot of damage down. They're just going straight for this dragon afterwards, though. Really, RoX.KIS are snowballing themselves in this early game very nicely.
Dragon off the back of that, and at 5 minutes, RoX.KIS have won all of their lanes, with the possible exception of top lane, since those laners haven't actually played versus each other for the majority of this game so far. But another big thing to notice is that, Maokai, he was forced to back after that TP, because, I don't know, he really had nothing else to do down there. Had to walk all the way up top lane, and he missed a wave of CS that just doesn't exist for him. Fariz, rather, he picked up an assist and a lot of that XP from the minion wave down there as well. So he's right on track as far as that goes, but he will be missing a little bit of CS just because, once the wave resets, Thaldrin will have overall more of that because he's been back in lane CSing, whereas Fariz, he got his chance to CS early. Now we're looking mid lane for a gank here. Coming in onto Alex. He's only level 5. You can see he actually turned around and whoa, the Cocoon's gonna land. A couple more auto attacks coming in there. The shield and a barrier here. Demaco's got the auto attack, waits it out. Rift walk in off the level 6 because of the kill. Demaco wants to go in for that, but only level 4 is once again unable to chase.
Fariz actually walked down there anticipating a bit of a bigger fight, and he's losing out a little bit in this top lane, although the waves just get into his tower. He should be able to farm relatively well under that tower. Obviously, Irelia with the Blade Surge can pick up minions under tower quite easily. But yeah, I mean, the counter gank coming out there from Dumashko is really, really nice.
Couple of things to watch out for, though, for RoX.KIS. Even though it appears as if they've had a very strong start, they do have to make sure that either Thaldrin or Theokiles does not get going. If they do, the hard engage will be something that Raskin just doesn't have the ability to avoid. And sure, Alex Ish gets out alive, but as much as we love watching Alex hard carry RoX.KIS, and that has honestly been the case in several of their group stage matches, you're going to need some help from the rest of your team, and having a hard engage comp that Ace is just going to use to shut them down over and over again is not something that you want to see, especially this early on.
That was a really nice mind game by Raxo in the bot lane. He threw his Dark Passage out behind him as if, someone was coming in to assist. Right as Holy Phoenix wanted to go aggressive, and he just backed straight off even though there was no one there. So, smart way of getting Holy Phoenix off of you there.
I always love it when I do that, and I throw it backwards, the other guy just flashes away, and you just laugh at them, and whoa, Death Sentence landing through the minions, but that will mean the spell shield is used on the Flay. Some extra shielding there, and even though Raskin couldn't catch up, he is going to take that Death Sentence in. That's going to force out a lot of resources. Exhaust used there by Lithilian.
Top lane Freeze.
Got another fight up here. Freeze trying to run away from Theokiles. Should be able to make it out of this one alive. Wraps around the corner by the Krugs and makes it back to the turret.
Yeah, I mean, Thaldrin wasn't really close enough to actually make something happen there. Bot lane, Holy Phoenix, he's just getting a lot of pressure. He's playing so far up, but really, his health value and the mana on Lithilian isn't really accommodating of that kind of play, so he's getting aggressed on a lot. And Raxo, he is landing death sentence after death sentence.
One hook into another. They're going for the kill, and they're gonna get it. Ignite ticking down. And Raskin, somehow he got the last hit on that. I thought Ignite was going to give it up, but now looking for the dive as well. Yeah, he's got the repel, so he can take turret aggro and then drop it immediately. He even gets hit by the bubble there. Roxo's going to be taking it up there. Repel to drop the turret aggro, and a perfect dive execution. RoX.KIS snowballing on every front.
I mean, this is really the problem for Aces High. They've got a great composition when it comes to the later game, but at this point, by the time they get to the late game, they're just going to be limping, you know? There's just so much going on for RoX.KIS, but a good Grand Skyfall.
Yeah, and this probably will mean Raskin's going to go down there. You're going to need a spear and then auto attack, and even that may not be enough. The Achilles is going to run underneath turret because he's got some blocks there, and there's the auto into spear. The Achilles finding the first kill for Aces High.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely what they need to start doing. They need to start getting those kills with the Achilles, who's obviously, a strong early game champion, to try and allow them to get to the stage where they can really team fight the way they want to. Middle lane, there's hardly been anything going on since that early counter gank, and really, if you look at Alex H, he is doing a nice job against Riosta right now in this middle lane. He's up about 20 CS as well as having that assist. He is doing a solid job considering that, Riosta should be able to do some nice harass from a distance. Obviously, Null Sphere is really good at mitigating that, though.
Right now, the biggest thing that's being mitigated is, or at least for RoX.KIS, is, like you said, top lane. Thaldrin is 20 CS up just off of just straight up being in his lane, and as soon as he hits this Rod of Ages, he's just going to leave his lane. Hopefully it's one, maybe it's not, and walk down towards either mid, try to gank off Alex Ish, but might be causing him to leave lane a little bit early. In 30 seconds, Dragon's up. Both top laners do have teleport, so we could see another one of these big defining Dragon fights. Although I guess we haven't seen too many fights against Dragon. Another test that it's landing there by Rax, so I think he's just practicing at this point.
Whoa, Rios took so much damage out of this cocoon.
Where's it gonna land? It does, and there immediately is the assassination. Alex flashes back in. He didn't actually need to because the barrier would have expired and still given him the kill. But you can just see how aggressive Damonka's being, knowing that he's got follow-up in every single lane.
Yeah, Damashka is just ganking absolutely everywhere right now, just not letting up any kind of pressure. And at this point, Theocles is really struggling to keep up. Holy Phoenix in the bot lane keeps getting flayed in. Doing a good job not to pop his spell shield too early there, though.
Yeah, exactly. That spell shield is the biggest thing keeping Holy Phoenix in this lane. It's keeping him even in CS, even though he's been behind and the lane has been camped out so frequently. And the even bigger thing about this is that, Holy Phoenix is the carry for Aces High. It's kind of an interesting matchup between two teams who both have one player that hard carries them the majority of the games. Death Sentence there, auto affiliate. He's got the Lantern to pull him back in as well. Immediate teleport bottom lane, which is good even though RoX.KIS are winning the fight, because sure, maybe they kill Holy Phoenix. Look at that damage from Jamonko. Holy cow, that guy's 5-0-2 and looking to take down everything in his path. RoX.KIS will, and they'll rotate on to what should be their second dragon of the game.
That was a crazy amount of damage from Damashka, especially considering, if you look at his items, he's going for tank items so far. He's got a Sight Stone, as well as another Ruby Crystal. He hasn't even gone for an enchant. Grand Skyfall coming in along with the laser. Not gonna get it though. Oh man.
Yeah, Theocles will be able to flash out alive. That was actually pretty impressive. Nice prismatic barrier from Riosta to be able to keep him alive and himself.
Thaldrin's actually taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, and Kassadin is traditionally a counter matchup versus Maokai, but Alex just walked into a full minion wave and take that all up. And also keep in mind he's down the same 20 CS that Freeze is, but he's actually just gonna walk right back in. Where's the heal from Magic Sap? Alex, the minions are gonna kill him! The cannon minion aggroed onto him, and once again, you can't fight in the minion wave, I promise you. Maokai does magic damage, but Alex died to physical damage from all those minion auto attacks.
Yeah, that was a very aggressive play by him that he just didn't have the ability to go through with. bot lane. Another flay. Holy Phoenix. Whoa.
And a perfect death sentence. This guy's aimbotting. Holy cow, how does he land every single one? Holy Phoenix is just gonna die. A couple more auto attacks. Where's the buckshot? RoX.KIS actually out of mana, and he's gonna need one more to pick up a kill. Double flashes out after all the summoners burned, and while Aces High keep their bottom lane alive, it's still RoX.KIS with the advantage.
Yeah, and they're just going to be able to push off the back of this as well, so even though Holy Phoenix and Lithilian got away alive, you know, they're still losing out here. They're still losing out a decent chunk, to be honest, and if Raskin had mana, that would have looked very different too, so definitely not a good early game so far for Aces High. They're about 2k gold behind, in addition to obviously being 2 dragons behind. And RoX, if you look at their composition, right, they're very strong in the mid game. As soon as Irelia picks up that Trinity Force, she's going to be able to come down and just make stuff happen. You've also got, you know, Elise, who's got a pretty large amount of damage this early, even without buying items. They're going to be able to start pressuring really hard soon.
Now, the name of the game for Aces High traditionally is team fighting, is helping each other out, is grouping up and becoming more than the sum of their parts. And honestly, it's what's made them so ridiculously dominant in this tournament. Even when they're behind, in team fights, they know exactly when to go in, when to kite backwards, and that's really the phase I want to see them get to. But against a team like RoX.KIS, who's completely well versed with just winning their lane matchups and snowballing that advantage. I mean, we're still early on, but it's certainly looking good for RoX.KIS' strategy of, oh wait, just killing the dudes.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, they're doing a nice job of just farming up champion kills, to be honest, and if they keep this up, you know, it's going to be really down to Ace to maybe find some picks or something to put them back in position. But if they can kind of stop the bleeding early on, I think Aces, you know, it's like you're saying, they've got a really solid chance if they get to that late game. Alex Ich, oh no, he failed his jump!
Yeah, and without that, he's not too dead, but will be taking a ton of damage. Big success is the backup, like you said, coming in. Look at that burst from Raskin. He didn't even hit with the main damaging part of the collateral damage. He just hit with the collateral part of the collateral damage, and even that was just enough to be able to take out Theocles, who honestly has been having one of the better games on Aces High, but needs his laners to step it up.
Yeah, I mean, Theocles really hasn't had much of an opportunity to make things happen, purely because of the fact that everyone's dead before he gets anywhere. You know, if you look at the bot lane, he comes in for a gank, but it's always after Damashka, so you know, there's already too much going down there. If you look at the top lane, I mean, Fariz has been pretty safe most of the time. He actually managed to, you know, do a good job against Thaldrun just in a 1 versus 1. He did lose his tower early, but as a result of that, you know, they couldn't pressure without going too deep, you know, without vision. And in this mid lane, it's impossible for him to get onto Alex most of the time. He's just too good at getting away.
Yeah, a big question mark in that last fight was Lithilian's exhaust and how it's, you know, kind of still up. But maybe we'll see that saved for a more necessary situation. And honestly, the big difficulty for this game so far, you can't really blame it on any one person, because even though Theocles' ganks have been decent, his laners either haven't been in position, he's been forced to try to steal away dragons that his team hasn't put enough pressure on to take, and his laners are overall weaker, so it makes ganks that much less effective. Now, man drop should be coming in top lane, and it is. Get the nice lockdown. Freeze is pretty dead here, and actually a good job there by Theocles not taking the kill, but rather giving it over to Thaldrun.
Yeah, that was really nice. But bot lane, Damashka's coming in.
Oh man, in a big way, the death sentence lands again. Roxo, just stop, give him a chance, man. They can't run when every single death sentence hits.
Yeah, I mean, they just don't even have the ability to deal with that. Aces High doing, you know, a smart decision here, though. They're trying to take another tower top lane whilst they have the opportunity to do so. I like this a lot, because it's going to mean that Thaldrun can firstly pressure that inhibitor tower, you know, if his TP's up, and maybe force RoX.KIS to back away from just the steamrolling in the other lanes. But it also means that when they go down for this dragon, which is spawning in 20 seconds, they're going to have the wave pushed very far up in the top lane.
Actually, really like that trade for Aces High. They realized that they couldn't really fight one-on-one, the team from RoX.KIS, so they just said, hey, look, we'll take an objective you aren't defending. It's still a good objective. Second-tier turrets, relatively hard to come by, and they were able to save the bottom second-tier turret just thanks to superior wave clear and champions kind of thinning out there for RoX.KIS. So I really like the choice. I think it may be best thing that they could do given how far behind they are at this point. But like you said, we are about to see the indication who's ahead and who is not. Who's in position is who's out. And right now, that will be decided at the Dragon Pit. We're going to need at least a pink ward, or at least a scan, maybe a pink ward. The Achilles in the area. All right, there's a death sentence that's missing. I like what I see, Rax, though. You're starting to let him dodge. I guess that's a good thing, at least if you're an Aces High fan.
Yeah, it's good sportsmanship coming out of RoX.KIS. But, you know, one thing I just wanted to touch on is that although RoX.KIS are kind of snowballing at the moment, when it gets to the point where Aces High are down to just their base turrets, I think it's actually going to be pretty difficult for RoX to finish it out just because of the wave clear. Oh, Rios to get engaged on, though.
Big double assassination over the wall, and that's exactly what this RoX.KIS comp is designed to do. You get the big assassins in the top and mid lane, and then you just follow it up. Whoa, big engage there through the Dragon Pit. That's going to be a dragon taken by Aces High, and Theocles is going to flash out alive. Oh my goodness, beautiful play there. Aces High keeping it close, but they're going to need to keep it maybe a little bit closer with a few more plays like that if they want to win this game.
Yeah, that was a really nice trade coming out of Aces High. You know, they got a kill and dragon just in exchange for a kill, but unless Holy Phoenix can defend this, and I think Thaldron's not going to TP in time either, this tower is certainly going to go down.
Somewhat questionable engage there by Thaldron. He should be tanky enough to disengage, and he actually breaks enough walls of the box for Holy Phoenix to go back in. Just the tip of that finale smoke kill coming in for the kill, but flashes out, continuing all over the place, continual disengaging. RoX.KIS take a losing fight. The flash boomerang blade just barely not landing.
Well, I mean, now we've got Aces High and a 5-man strength in the mid lane. Also, Alex gets stunned up.
Can't walk too far forward. There's still moves on his hourglass, but look at Demaco. People kind of forgot he was 6-1-3, and after dying there at the Dragon Pit, pretty much the best situation for Aces High. They grab Dragon, they get 500 gold shutdown, some assists. They win a team fight afterwards, but overextend just a little bit too far. And now RoX.KIS feeling a little bit more mortal. They're down by 4,000 gold. They're up by 4,000 gold at the 20-minute mark, but with fights like those, that can change in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by Aces there. You know, they really pressured too hard to try and get a kill onto Alex Ich, and had they not done that, they might have just been able to push up with their good wave clear, their good push siege capabilities, and just gone for the tower. And now they're down 2 towers in that middle lane, which is good for RoX.KIS. They're going to be able to maneuver around the map way more easily now. I mean, that middle tower is really important as sort of a safe haven for you if you're running around. Not having that second one means that they don't have many places to retreat to if they find themselves caught out when they're trying to get wards out, or if they're trying to go for a dragon, that kind of thing.
And sometimes it just becomes as significant as, you know, no tower is bad, tower is good. You know, you kind of get that idea. But maybe some sloppiness starting to show from RoX.KIS's play. We talked about their playstyle being very, very sort of win lane, win game, as in you get Alex Ich fed and maybe one of your side lanes wins, and then everybody else just builds tanky and lets the carries carry. But this time around, the team comp from RoX.KIS is a little bit more heavily built towards that. They want a very aggressive Aurelia, and the double assassin dive comp between her and Alex's Kassadin is like the bread and butter of this, because they need to find a way to kill Holy Phoenix. That's the big idea here. But Holy Phoenix has a spell shield. He's got a lot of nice CC to back him up, and that's what we're going to start to see a lot more of once we get these team fights going, which has been traditionally where Aces High have shown. Yeah.
Well, Holy Phoenix does need to be careful, though. I mean, right there he was pushing up. If you look at the ward coverage in the river, he's got nothing, right? He's just got coverage in his jungle. So had he not backed away right when he had, you know, he's got the spell shield for himself, like you were saying, but the rest of his team comp can't help him if he's by himself. He needs to be careful not to over-aggress in that bot lane. Obviously, they do really want to take down those outer towers that are still up, and I think they need to do that kind of soon so that they can get some wards further up. At the moment, you know, part of the reason they can't really ward past their river is that all of these towers are just still up. You know, the middle and the bottom tower are still up in the outer side for RoX.KIS, and they can't move far enough up to do that.
Well, there's a pink ward now, and actually 3 pink wards in that general lower jungle river area for RoX.KIS. So they've got vision in spades. They actually even have 3 deep wards all the way through the upper jungle as well. So RoX.KIS really playing this game as carefully as they could as they transition to the side I guess the mid game. Love the ward coverage, but here's the gank coming in. An immediate flash into the brushes. There's the stun. Theocles is going to take a ton of damage. Blade Surge back out just to get closer to DeMonco. This is not going to go well for Aces High. They turn around and try for the kill, but Thaldrin, he's kind of a man alone. DeMonco can take him down there thanks to the Venomous Bite. And actually the red buff taken down as well. Fariz is going to come back in. There's no more Maokai ultimate. He had to turn it off. It only lasts for 8 seconds, and look at Alex Ish. He actually came in behind the turret that, oh wait, wasn't there, and with a first item completed, Youmuu's Ghost Blade. Actually, whoa, that's second item Youmuu's. This is gonna be all RoX.KIS all over this Baron.
I mean, the good news for them is that at the very least they might be getting this bottom tower, although Fariz, he's got teleport, he's coming in behind. I don't think Holy Phoenix realizes this.
Holy Phoenix, there's a reset, and he actually dodges the stun from Equilibrium Strike with a spell shield. Goes down on the hunt, but can you outrun a Trinity Force Irelia? Answer probably yes. But at the end of the day, it is still a Baron buff for RoX.KIS, and this time there's no Theocles there to steal it away.
Yeah, and this Baron, you know, I was talking about how as it gets to this point where there's not very many towers left for Aces, they could maybe kind of just allow themselves to get to the late game by just constantly pushing out the waves. The problem is when the enemy team's got Baron, you can't push the waves nearly as effectively. They just become so tanky. The siege tank attacks from further out than your turret range. If you want to kill that, you got to go really far out from your base. At this point, it's going to be very difficult for Aces to actually stop this siege.
I think at this point it would be difficult for almost any team to stop this siege. 5-15, and with 8 kills on DeMonco, like, holy cow, that guy showed up early, continues to dominate in team fights, and once again is building nothing but tank items and still killing everyone. He's got 30 less CS in the jungle, but like we said, that's because he's been ganking champions, not killing off the jungle monsters. So that will be the, I believe, second dragon for RoX.KIS.
Oh,
that's actually the third dragon because they gave one away. Looking at Alex going in, you can tell he has Zanya's. Just kidding. No Zanya's Hourglass on the cast, and he's going with a Morella Nomicon, but if one CC doesn't land, another one's gonna hit. And the like you said, the chain missed, but the cocoon landed. And there's the follow-up on that kill. TP back to the turret from Maokai, who was a little bit too far forward. And now siege onto the first base turret of the game. Man drops coming in. There's the Lucian, or the Lux ultimate. Now Raskin does get CC'd up in the back, and he will probably die. Riosta's still in there, but can't make it close enough to auto-attack down DeMonco to get that Sunlight proc off. Now Thaldrin, one of the last members alive, the last member of Aces High in there. RoX.KIS coming forward to try to take him out, and they will. 26 minutes in and a triple kill, and there is the theoretical ace and first inhibitor for RoX.KIS.
Fariz wasn't actually even hitting the members of Ace there. He was just going for that tower. That's how far ahead they are right now. That was basically, you know, a 4 versus... or rather, I think that was a 3 versus 4. Raskin didn't do that much. He was chain CC'd most of the fight. And, you know, RoX are just so far ahead right now. Look at the gold lead. They're about 10k ahead, as well as having 3 dragons to the 1 of Aces. 20 kills to 6. I mean, Aces High, in my opinion, they got to start thinking about what they're going to ban out next game, to be honest.
The game certainly does seem very one-sided, but once again, you are starting to see maybe a few kills start to stack up on Aces High. They do have overall, I feel like, more practiced team fighting this, but RoX.KIS, they're monsters. They're winning every single lane matchup, and at this point, like you said, there is only so much you can do. Maybe you start thinking about a next game, maybe you keep your head in this and really try to put in the work to win it, but either way, this is looking very, very difficult for Aces High, and it only gets more difficult as the winner of this game faces off against Thunderbot Sparta in the Winners' Championship. coming up a little bit later on.
Yeah, and obviously, at least the good news for either team if they lose this is that they're not out of LPL. They just fall into the losers bracket. They're going to be going up against one of the teams down there, and they still have the chance to come back and just reverse all kill and get back into it. Alexichi's going in, though.
Going in a big way, and he's got the rest of his team to go in with him. Now, Holy Phoenix with a summoner heal, and Fareez might have gone just a little bit too far. Somewhat sloppy, but at the end of the day, it's all RoX.KIS on the same page. Alex going deep, and this time he's got a Zanya's Hourglass, and he'll stay alive for just a little bit longer. These dives are, maybe not with the Doctor Order, but we'll see if Raskin can dive in and pick up a kill. Answer, unfortunately, is no. Thaldrun actually does a lot of damage. The flash in, and he's actually gonna get the arcade smash backwards. Raxo's gonna die to the turret. Thaldrun's just killing every single member of RoX.KIS, save one, and that was, I believe it was Freeze that died early on.
I'd forgotten about one key way that Aces could come back into the game potentially. It's if, RoX just messes up. And right there, they went so deep, everyone got hit by CC under towers. Riasta, he does a decent amount of damage. We haven't seen that much out of him yet, but he's picked up that death cap, he's got the Morello Nomicon, he's got a blasting one on top of that. In that situation, he was just sniping people down, and of course, Thaldrun, he's no slouch himself. He's got a Rod of Ages, so he's still, hitting for a respectable amount, and he can just lock people up under towers and use them as some of his damage too.
Thaldrun definitely kind of manned up that fight, and while maybe that makes RoX.KIS look a little bit more vulnerable, they were honestly diving pretty crazily at that point, and anytime you're fighting behind enemy lines, they're always going to have the advantage, just because they're the ones that drew them. So at this stage of the game, yeah, RoX.KIS is still definitely still in the lead, but do you want to continue to watch out for the rest of the lanes getting ahead? Specifically, Thaldrun's Maokai, with 4 kills now under his belt, and the most CS on the team. He's definitely going to have to put on his carry pants, as well as his Frozen Heart, Rod of Ages, and every other one of his items, to be able to pull this game out of the bag.
Yeah, he needs to step it up and really try and just lock down the key targets so that they can actually get some kills. If he locks down Raskin in some of these fights, it makes it really easy for Riasta to just land one of those final sparks and try and snipe him out. And that's really the situation they need to be in as well. Holy Phoenix, though, he is struggling to make an impact this game. He is 0 for 5 for 4. He's actually up on CS over Raskin, but obviously Raskin is doing a much better job when it comes to kills. But he, at the moment, can't kill anyone. Look at his items, right? He's not even got any armor penetration, even though we've got Randomins, we got Zanyas, we've got a Frozen Heart on the side of RoX.KIS. He can't really do damage to anyone, except for maybe Raskin, and, it's not necessarily his job to be killing Raskin in most fights. That's not something which you're going to see happen.
To be honest, this is perfect itemization by RoX.KIS. It's not only like who you kill and where the gold's at and who's carrying and who's fed. It's that you design your team comps ahead of the game to deal with certain things about the other teams. And this one, the double dive from Freeze is Irelia, and then Alex is Cassidon at the same time. It's just been so effective. Just look at that bottom lane, 0 and 11. For Aces High, and a big score contrast there for RoX.KIS, who did okay bottom lane, but primarily just crushed mid and jungle. Now a big engage there for Demago. He's by himself, but the rest of Aces High know that there's help coming in. Big man drop actually means that Demago should die here. He gets off a repel. He's still very, very low life. He's gonna actually get out of this fight alive, but he doesn't disengage, and it's Thaldrun able to come in for the shutdown. Double kills, dives, is there a follow-up? Yes, it's Freeze that picks up the third one. No triple kill there for Raskin, but he has a lot of help nonetheless.
Raskin didn't even get touched that fight. All the damage straight away went down on Tamashka, and yes, he did fall, but it wasn't worth it. They couldn't kill anyone else as a result. Riasta, they need kind of a drawn-out fight for Riasta to get more than one rotation down, because he's not fed enough to just, half health everyone on their team in one burst. Now, Alex said she's going down with the Lithilian.
He does have a lantern there to pull him back out, so at least now the dives aren't quite as crazy for RoX.KIS, but they look to be almost as successful. That'll be another base turret dropping, and only so many more of those before you can take down the base itself. And wisely enough this time, though, RoX.KIS will disengage. They'll take the blue buff, and most likely the Baron after this.
Yeah, I mean, the problem for them is right now is that Damashq's in this bottom lane, so obviously they don't have a smite. All 5 members from Ace are alive. And actually, Alex, you know, he's a little bit hurt. He doesn't have quite the same amount of mana he would like. And Raxo is just going to aggro that Baron to put some damage down. But, yeah, you know, Aces, they've got an opportunity here to maybe try and make something happen whilst everyone heals up, goes, spends the gold. But it looks like RoX are aware that that's what they're trying to do. They want to contest this dragon.
Contesting dragons and other unfeasible things to do. This will be dragon number 4 for RoX.KIS, and honestly one that you can really only expect to steal to be a viable way to take care of it. The disengage here, perfect timing there from RoX.KIS. Maybe a little bit of an early Zhonya's Hourglass there from Alex, but he's gonna get out. The play back in, just beautiful, beautiful play by Raxo. He's not even gonna die, gets out to the back of the team fight, but he set up the entire rest of his team. Freeze is gonna grab 1 kill. Alex over the wall, Finale's phone kill, and that is actually gonna kill him. The game might have died to that red buff auto attack, but as Raskin kills the red buff, it'll be continual chasing one after another. And while both teams are kind of showing off, Aces are not showing off the skills that they want to. They're gonna actually lose their middle inhibitor for the 2nd time this game, and with 20 more seconds left on guys like Riosta and Holy Phoenix, this is actually gonna be a top lane inhibitor too.
Yeah, I don't see any way that Theocles and Lithilian can realistically defend this, and with 2 inhibitors down, that's definitely a free Baron going over the way of RoX. You know, once they go back and, you know, heal up, spend their money, that kind of thing, they've got free reign over the map right now. The only thing the Aces really have going for them right now is this push in the bot lane is fairly substantial. You know, it's very big. Oh, Theocles, that spear is going to travel across the map. That's one manly throw all the way across Summoner's Rift. But, you know, not really doing enough to stop the recall. So, yeah, I mean, as I was saying, the only thing that Aces really had going for them in that entire exchange was that bot lane is pushing pretty heavily. But it's not going to be enough to deter RoX from just heading out of the base, maybe going for this dragon. They never actually finished it up, or going for this Baron. Either one of them is going to be, you know, pretty much the nail in the coffin for Aces here.
Yeah, honestly, 5 dragons, a Baron, and really just the ability to group up and not go for super crazy dives should give RoX.KIS the win. They're winning every matchup, and specifically as the game draws later and later on, there just isn't an AD carry for Aces High. He's got 2 items, but with no armor penetration in sight and a lot of armor from RoX.KIS. The radical online extremists know exactly what to do, and that objective is dragon.
Yeah, I do feel like that, you know, Holy Phoenix being shut down really was what guaranteed this game going in RoX's favor. They had all sorts of stuff going for them. Alex did relatively well, 7-3-11. Freeze is doing nicely, but Holy Phoenix, you know, he's the carry. He is the carry for Aces. He is the equivalent of their Alex each, and if he doesn't do well, it seems like Aces don't really have what it takes to finish things out. And this game, he has not done well at all. 0-7-6. He's got alright farm, but, you know, he doesn't have any kind of armor pen right now.
And with pushes continuing to mount up, I don't think there's time to get that armor penetration. Sigilus, it's like, where do you buy it from? You've got maybe Brutalizer on Theocles. Okay, alright, you're getting it started. But I think you need a little bit more than just a Brutalizer versus things like, you know, Frozen Heart, Randuin's Omen, Zhonya's Hourglass, and a whole host of other armor items that have already actually been picked up by Aces, or by RoX.KIS. Dive through the turret! Whoa! Look at that damage!
Damn.
And it's just gonna keep coming out, this time onto the inhibitor. It'll be 3 inhibitors down, 2 super minions per lane, 2 regular cannon minions per lane as well, and cannon and minions that are just gonna keep dropping. For the blue side, that'll be RoX.KIS almost taking down Holy Phoenix. The spell shield and flash his way out of there, and honestly, just a great solid play. Win lane, win game. This is about the way it looks here as RoX.KIS to close out the game with a 12-31 score, 12-32. Either way, just looking to get these dives off for style points at the end. The Nexus falls, and it'll be RoX.KIS taking game number 1.
Yeah, that was a really solid game by RoX.KIS. They looked dominant pretty much throughout, ending with, you know, a 15,000 gold lead, plus the fact they had 4 dragons. They were miles ahead pretty much since the word go, and really, Aces needed like a discount store at the end there to get the items they needed, because they just couldn't even come close. Alright guys, well don't go anywhere, we'll be back with Game 2 of the Winners Bracket semifinals when we finish this short break.